The US President Donald Trump will leave the G7 summit in Canada early.
President Trump has left the G7 summit in Canada early.
Why leave if that is the reason? Because the president got a skip at his hotel, let me tell you.
He sees America first as America alone. And he doesn't see the value in having our NATO partners and allies, our EU partners, those who are at this table sitting with us, jointly figuring out how we're going to deal with the chaotic and uncertain moment we have. This was a party at which he wasn't especially welcome. He has picked fights with every one of our major allies represented at this summit. His chaotic and ill-conceived tariff fights with our partners and allies may well have meant some very awkward and difficult conversations.
Donald Trump's appearance at the G7 summit was marked by disorder, confrontation, and ultimately humiliation, according to reactions and coverage of the event. The summit was meant to bring together major allies like Canada, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United States to coordinate on pressing global challenges, including economic policies, the Middle East crisis, and Russia's war in Ukraine. Instead, the gathering was overshadowed by Trump's erratic behavior and inflammatory remarks. Despite the summit's agenda focusing on Middle East tensions and Russia's continued aggression in Ukraine, Trump's actions and rhetoric drew attention away from unified strategy and cooperation. He reportedly left the summit early without offering a clear explanation, which sparked confusion and concern among observers and fellow leaders. His departure was announced by Caroline Leavitt, though the justification, potentially linked to tensions in the Middle East, was unconvincing given those very topics were on the G7 agenda. Trump's conduct suggested a disregard for the value of international coordination. Rather than fostering solidarity with NATO and EU allies, he attacked democratic cities in the US, claimed Putin only speaks to him, and argued that excluding Russia from the G7 was a mistake, despite Russia's expulsion being a response to its annexation of Crimea. He further asserted that if Russia had remained in the G7, the war in Ukraine wouldn't have occurred, a view seen as echoing Kremlin propaganda. Canadian Prime Minister Carney, chairing the summit, had to shut down a press conference when Trump veered into a bizarre tirade, making it an embarrassing moment for the US and the summit as a whole.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to exercise my role, if you will, as G7 chair, since we have a few more minutes with the president and his team, and then we actually have to start the meeting to address some of these big issues.
Trump's claim that he leads all global conversations clashed with the reality that other leaders, particularly Prime Minister Carney, exercised authority and control during the proceedings. Behind closed doors, Trump's inability to effectively coordinate with fellow leaders, compounded by his "America alone" posture, left observers questioning the US commitment to multilateralism. As tensions rise in the Middle East and adversaries like Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China increasingly collaborate, critics argue that Trump's departure from the summit and refusal to engage meaningfully with allies is both irresponsible and dangerous. This summit, meant to demonstrate unity among global democracies, instead became a stage where Donald Trump isolated the United States, undercut shared goals, and left in a manner viewed by many as petulant and humiliating.